of Humvees. If you pan a little to the right, Jefferson, in the background, you can see there's a line of National Guard Humvees and other support vehicles. That's an additional line. The other night we saw kind of one line, one front, if you will, but now we're seeing multiple fronts in different parts of this section of downtown. It was a really small group at the end. It appears that so there was a period of détente, right, where they kind of came to an agreement, and some guys decided to leave. There was a core group that said, no, we're not going to leave. What's amazing is the restraint, because I'll be honest with you, I'm really surprised tear gas wasn't deployed. It had been deployed for 5 of the 6 nights. Here on night 7, after night 6 again, no tear gas so far. That could change, but when I saw the gas mask go away, I figured the tear gas is probably not going to be deployed. We're starting to see a tactical redeployment right now. Actually, what we're seeing is the National Guard soldiers are stepping out of the way because a line of Atlanta police with riot gear on are now making their way through. Again, just like we saw the other night, tremendous amount of coordination here. There are 1- and 2-word orders going out, and everybody's following them to the letter. Looks like Atlanta police is tactically redeploying back to the original line. They're heading back towards Marietta Street. The National Guard soldiers are remaining here, but at this end, they're probably going to hold the line to hold the perimeter, but they're going to retreat back to essentially what was the original line and their command center.
All right, Brendan, thank you. We're going to keep a close eye on our crews on the ground. We are 20 minutes into the 9 p.m. curfew. Very little escalation out there. We saw a couple of spots. We're going to keep an eye on that. Stay with us. You're watching 11 Live News Prime Time.
Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon, sort of come to a conclusion based on the 9 p.m. curfew that is now in effect. We are 23 minutes into the curfew. Looking at Marietta Street and Centennial Olympic Park Drive, where the National Guard and Atlanta police have set up shop. Before we went to break, we saw them trying to disperse the last little bit of the crowd. We're going to take you back to our reporters on the ground, but first, let's get a look of your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. Chris.
Yeah, AC, we had some showers downtown a little bit earlier that came down on some of the protesters and down at Centennial Olympic Park. It has pretty much all fallen apart, though, now. We don't really have a lot going on inside the perimeter at this hour. This is all that's left. A little bit of light rain up 85 there inside the perimeter around Shallowford Road, Chamblee-Tucker Road, closer to Spaghetti Junction. But earlier, some of that rain was a little bit heavier.
The lead of the group here is now at
Olympic
4th
Park, also Piedmont Park, and then it really intensified as it moved up 85 around Spaghetti Junction, and now more of this heavy rain in parts of Gwinnett County, going up 85, even a little bit of lightning left over right there around Buford near the Mall of Georgia at that 985 and 85 split, with that heavier rain getting closer to move into Auburn and also into Brazelton. That's over into Barrow County and also up into Jackson County. Heavy rain right now over Lake Lanier. We had one batch that came through Lake Lanier earlier with a lot of thunder and lightning. That has moved to the north and east. That's what's over Lula right now. Now the second batch is over Lake Lanier. We're not seeing much in the form of lightning with that, but just another batch of really heavy rain moving through. And then that thunder and lightning beginning to diminish somewhat over parts of White County, moving into Habersham County and also into Rabun County as those storms are weakening a little bit. We're keeping our eye on this storm. That just kind of developed near Marietta, right there at 575 and 75 in the northern part of Cobb. That's moving into southern Cherokee County. Parts of North Fulton will see some of that. Just mainly heavy rain. We're not seeing a lot of lightning with that. We might see a little bit of lightning develop with that one. And then elsewhere, north and west Georgia, not much activity moving through right now. This is a live look, and this is our tower cam in Gwinnett County. I know it's kind of dark there. We're looking over the roof of the Infinite Energy Arena.
Main crossing there, and it looks like they're going to continue and moving through that intersection. Hey. After sports. Okay, sounds good. I'm ready. And David, if we can scoot back a little bit, they're going to take us after the sports segment. Okay, I'll make it quick. It is downtown LA. Okay, this works out. They're going to turn westbound, so we can hold here, David. That's perfect. Thanks. Westbound now, 3rd from Main. Okay, ready to go. Make it quick. Okay, thank you. Are they still going westbound, David? Can you see them? Okay. Hey Chuck, we're thinking that this might be the group from MacArthur Park that made their way from the mayor's house. They're moving westbound on 3rd Street from Main Street, and a couple more blocks they'll be able to join the group there at City Hall. So that's the very latest here in downtown LA. I'll send it back to you in the studio. They did, and if it is the crowd from MacArthur Park, they are moving at a faster clip. That's for sure, and followed by the same number of cars, although the LAPD just broke some of them away. No worries. Thank you. Thanks for the nickname. I like it. Okay. Simon Des, Bravo. We are clear from the booth. Okay. Will do, will do. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Jack. Good job, David. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be nice. East LA interchange. Yeah. Yeah.
very seriously. You just want to look at the range and direction. And those are the things that I think are most important.
Right now, even with our range, we're not protecting ourselves enough to make this virus go away. We were in the green zone while we sheltered in place, but in the past 2 weeks, that has changed. A product of not enough people wearing masks, washing their hands, or detecting the virus soon enough to avoid others.
So the period from 2 days before to maybe 4 or 5 days after you become sick is a critical period for spread. Now, the people who are important in protecting themselves are the ones who don't have it.
We've shown you this trend graph for weeks. It seems like good news, and big picture, it is. But look at Connecticut's trend. That is the sharp kind of decrease we're going to need to see in new cases if we really want to slow this virus down. Rothenberg says he's keeping his eye on June 21st, 3 weeks out from Memorial Day, the first mass gatherings here in our state. There are plenty of states that are in the green in this model, so he says the real takeaway here is do what you need to do, but protect yourself while you're doing it.
Well, today, several local leaders and hundreds of people joined in unity at the King Center here in Atlanta.
What do we want? When do we want it?
They gathered for a peaceful protest downtown, sporting their Sunday best. They marched from Ebenezer Baptist Church all the way to the steps of the state capitol. Several Atlanta council members addressed the crowd, as well as Dr. Bernice King, who says she is happy to be part of a new revolution.
What is happening here across these streets in the United States of America is reverberating across the world. This is a global movement for justice and equity and freedom for all of God's children, and to recognize that Black lives once and for all matter.
An 11 Alive estimate put the crowd out there close to 1,000 demonstrators by its end. We'll be right back.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Welcome back, everyone. We're getting our first look at the man accused of driving his ATV into a motorcycle officer, an Atlanta motorcycle officer. Police say Avery Goggins ran into Officer Max Brewer during a protest Saturday night. Officer Brewer underwent surgery. He's now in recovery. He has serious leg injuries. Goggins faces several charges, including DUI and possession of marijuana.
In Gwinnett, 3 people are behind bars now accused of setting police cars on fire. One of them had been arrested days before at a protest. Our Latasha Givens has the latest information.
And investigators say those fires could have been much worse if it weren't for those residents who responded so quickly and put out those fires.
We believe that these individuals went out into the community and set these patrol cars on fire.
Gwinnett County Police say on Tuesday, 2 of its patrol cars were targeted at officers' homes in Duluth and Lawrenceville. You can see parts of the vehicles warped from the flames. A 3rd patrol car's windshield was smashed yesterday in Lawrenceville.
You're worried for your own personal safety and the safety of your family? No, it's just not acceptable.
It's very disheartening that we would have people like this visit our officers' homes and try to incite some sort of violence or property damage.
Police don't know if the officers were targeted specifically or if the vandals were driving around looking for any patrol vehicle. The ATF and the fire department arson unit helped them identify 3 suspects accused of setting the patrol cars on fire. Investigators allegedly found Molotov cocktail ingredients in 2 of the suspects' cars. One of the suspects, Alvin Josephs, had been arrested days before with a group of protesters at Sugarloaf Mills Mall.
It's one thing protesting for what's right, but then to retaliate, do something like that, is wrong.
Joseph is also a convicted felon who's also facing charges for carrying a firearm. Gwinnett County Police tell us since national protests broke out, they've only made 7 arrests. They consider that a low number, and they hope to keep it that way.
We continue to track some scattered showers in the area. Most of the rain that was in the city inside the perimeter earlier has moved out. We've been tracking mainly dry conditions now, but we had some showers that moved through a little bit earlier that had some rain that came in over Centennial Park. And then we had some thunder and lightning mainly over here on the east side of the perimeter in DeKalb County. That has moved up toward the north. We're watching this area of rain that developed between Marietta and Kennesaw. That storm just kind of popped up. And now it's getting a little bit heavier and spreading out a little bit over northern Cobb, southern parts of Cherokee, and moving into parts of North Fulton County with some of those pockets of heavy rain near Milton right now. We're not seeing much in the form of lightning with this. It's not out of the question that we could see some lightning develop with that. Right now it's just mainly a good rain shower and some of it heavy. We had heavier rain over Gwinnett County earlier. That is starting to taper off right now as well. And you can see how it also had some thunder and lightning with it. Also, Lake Lanier had some really heavy rain earlier. Now a second batch of rain is in over Lake Lanier. That's going to move up to the north. It's kind of catching up to that first batch here up around the Lula area. And then more rain still with some thunder and lightning moving into Stevens County, Habersham County, Rabun County as well. Once this moves out, we'll see things starting to get a little bit quieter here. And then we'll just wait to see if this cell that's over North Fulton and southern Cherokee will rain itself out too. It may hold together into parts of Forsyth County, maybe southern Dawson County. Not much else going on there in North and West Georgia. Here's another live look at our Gwinnett County tower cam. I know that was kind of dark there, but we were tracking some showers and storms that rolled through Gwinnett County a little bit earlier. You can see the cooler air where the rain has been falling. Duluth, you drop down to 74. Athens is at 74. It's 68, though, in Gainesville with the cooler air, thanks to the rain that came through. Atlanta's still holding on at 80, though, and then we have temperatures near 80 down in Peachtree City. We're going to be getting in another update on Cristobal. Right now, it's a tropical depression down over land there in Mexico, and it's going to start moving back up toward the north, and as it gets back over water, it's going to become a tropical storm again later on Saturday. This is the still the 5 p.m. advisory. We didn't get an 8 o'clock intermediate advisory. We usually get that. That's just because it's still there over land. But we'll get another advisory coming in between 10:30 and 11 o'clock, and we'll have this updated track for you. But right now, still looks like it would be making landfall in Louisiana, most likely later on Sunday, and then move northward and continue to move on up to the north. And we're on the right-hand side of that track, so that's just going to feed us more of that Gulf moisture our way, keeping us with scattered showers. Tomorrow, 40% chance for rain, highs near 87. We're going to go with the 6 on the wasometer. There's that moisture to the east that's going to just fall apart as it moves away. In the morning, dry in Atlanta, but we'll be watching a couple of showers in North Georgia, maybe a few of those in metro Atlanta. And then in the afternoon tomorrow, again, not widespread, but just about a 40% chance for scattered showers. And we really think the rain chance will come down a little bit on Saturday and Sunday, with a 30% chance for showers. And then as Cristobal makes landfall late Sunday into Monday and starts traveling up through the Midwest, with us being on the right-hand side, we'll still see more moisture feeding in here. 40 to 50% chance for showers Tuesday, back to 40% Wednesday, and then a little lower rain chance on Thursday.
A Gwinnett mother says the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, it was just heavy on her heart when she went for a drive yesterday. When she spotted a local police officer, she says she just wanted to talk. Their conversation is getting a lot of attention after she posted it on Facebook. She tells our Caitlin Ross she just wanted to be heard.
Sonia Simmons lights up when she talks about her 2 boys, Clayton and Matthew. They mean everything to her. But she says the violence she's seen against young black men keeps her up at night, and she wants a change.
Really, for their whole lives, I have feared for their safety. The events over the last week have just magnified everything.
Sonia Simmons has watched the protests that have swept the country and understood the anger of the people protesting in the street.
I've been on the verge of tears for over a week. I've been so angry. I've been so angry.
She says since this started, she's just wanted to hear another police officer say what happened to George Floyd was wrong.
When I was driving, I was thinking, why don't they stand up and police themselves?
She was thinking about that as she pulled into a local park and saw Gwinnett police officer T.W. Carrero.
Just as we don't want to be stereotyped as a race, that we're all bad, I realized that not all police officers are bad. And that's what my post really came about.
She says she pulled up beside him and rolled down her window to talk.
If I'm wearing a uniform and I'm proud of that uniform and that badge that I wear, then I'm not okay with people misrepresenting me.
She says Officer Carrero took the time to listen to her and explain how he felt about what happened.
He talked with me. He didn't talk at me. I didn't talk at him.
She wrote a post about their conversation on Facebook and says people were so encouraged to see how the officer really took the time to understand.
And I do see good people speaking up, speaking out, saying, I stand with you, I hear you. And really, isn't that what we all want as humans, is to be heard?
As we continue to fight against the injustices, we have to be united. We have to stand together. And for me, this crowd is me.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast, not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily.
Another live look downtown, a very different scene out there, looking very quiet, very clear right now, 55 minutes into the city's curfew. Another night where the streets have cleared rather early. We did not see any tear gas, according to our reporters on the ground there, but we do know that this is night 7. The curfew will continue over the next few days, so we'll of course continue to follow it tonight and over the next few days as well.
All right, stick around. We are continuing 11 Alive News Prime Time at 10 o'clock. We'll see you back here at the top of the hour.
From 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast, not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Alive, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers, postal workers, and every brave Georgian doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97. Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close
11 Alive News Prime Time on the ATL starts
protest
now.
in Atlanta has come to an end. It is now 1 hour after curfew.
Atlanta is
The
extending its
seventh night of
curfew.
protest in Atlanta has come to an end. It is now 1 hour after curfew.
Atlanta is extending its curfew through the weekend. Then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the curfew starts an hour earlier from 8 p.m. to sunrise. Tonight, the mayor and police chief both stepped out amongst protesters to hear from them personally. It is the first time we've seen Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms meet publicly with the protesters a day after some protesters demanded it. Brendan Keefe was there. He joins us live now. Brendan.
Yeah, let's just set the scene for you. It is calm right now on the streets of Atlanta. I'm happy to report there have been arrests. Obviously, we'll report those numbers when we get them, likely later tonight or early tomorrow morning. But right now, I can tell you that no one was injured. We don't have police officers that were injured. We don't have protesters that were injured. There was no tear gas deployed. It was an extraordinary evening, far more tension than last night, but we didn't see what we saw in the previous 5 nights before last night. Last night, tonight, no tear gas fired. We had the National Guard. We had the Atlanta Police Department. They formed a line. We had the protesters, 4 to 5 times the number that we saw last night. And the mayor had come out, and so did the police chief. The mayor talked over a bullhorn. She also was present for a moment of silence. And the chief also came out and spoke to some of the protesters. But a lot of the protesters weren't having it, frankly. It was surprising to see just how much they were booing. Not all of them. Some were listening. Some were trying to listen. But some were booing the mayor. And there was profanity and all of that. It wasn't great to see. There was a high level of tension. There were 2 very loud verbal warnings when the curfew approached. And they put on gas masks, that meaning the police and the National Guard. But they did not fire the tear gas, and they were able to convince nearly every protester to go home voluntarily. There were a couple of stragglers at the end, and there were a few arrests. And now I have taken off my gas mask, and I have put my COVID mask back on. These are the times in which we live.
All right, Brendan, thanks a lot. We appreciate that live update. Let's get to Hope Ford. She's going to continue our live coverage tonight. And Hope, the video that you showed is like 30 minutes before all of this began, with everyone dancing, the National Guardsmen dancing with the protester. It was a wonderful sight. But then things changed as soon as the curfew struck 9.
Yeah, so we were out here going towards Luggage Street down Centennial Olympic Park Drive. You know, at that 8:30 area time when everyone started to kind of, you know, leave that area, and they came up to a woman who had a loudspeaker out there and was playing music, and some of the protesters started to dance. They were dancing to a few songs. You know, they were having a good time. And you could see some of the Georgia National Guard, they were looking at them, they were looking back at their supervisor, and they were looking back at the protesters and looking back at their supervisor, and finally their supervisor gave them the thumbs up. So some of the National Guard joined in, and they all started dancing together for a couple of songs. And everyone had a smile on their face, they were encouraging each other. Some of the Georgia National Guardsmen didn't know the dance moves, so they were being taught the dance moves. And then the organizer of this, she came up and she said, you know, this was intentional. I brought this loudspeaker out here and put it right next to this line of Georgia National Guardsmen because I've been seeing the tension over the last couple of nights when that curfew time comes up, and I really wanted to lift everyone's spirits. Take a listen to what she told me.
And we bring out this music every single day, and a few people were dancing the first day. We had a little bit more, and now today we have the National Guard dancing with us. I'm trying not to cry because this is all I wanted.
the day one. This is all we wanted to see, real unity, because I know we're all hurting, and I know we're all in so much pain.
And then after that interview, the Georgia National Guard, they walked up to her and said, we're having fun, but we have to clear these people out. Curfew's approaching, so we have to bring out, our shields and our riot gear. We have to do that. So, that scene changed. People started to go home, and then you saw the lines pushing back on that handful of protesters that were still there, pushing back. One of the protesters was, in a heated discussion. He was banging on one of the shields, and then you saw an officer step out and pull him to the side, and they started walking down Walton Street, which is where I'm walking right now. And there were cameras everywhere. There were cell phones out recording, and they were having a conversation. The protesters who were upset and the police officer, they were having a conversation, and you just heard him continually saying, please go home, please go home, please go home. And then they were able to kind of get them to the point where you had the Atlanta police. A lot of them came up behind, and they're yelling, please go home, because they're getting orders to arrest them. And they were like, we don't want to arrest anybody. We don't want to get hurt. Please go home. And they did end up making it all the way to their car. So just to show you that juxtaposition between what happened in that 30 minutes between 8:30 or 40 minutes between 8:30 and 9:10, kind of showing that shift between everyone having a good time and then the police having to do their job and protesters, still wanting to stay out here. So this is what we've seen tonight. And of course, as they were going home, there were a lot of people who were going, all right, y'all need to go home because we're going to be right back out here tomorrow for day 8 of protests.
And thousands all across the world have gathered for 10 straight days since George Floyd's death. But the vibe in Minneapolis today, it was different. At a memorial service to respectfully honor Floyd's memory, Jay Gray was there.
Amazing grace.
If only for a couple of hours, calm replaces what has been a constant, uneasy tension in Minneapolis.
It's crazy, man. All these people came to see my brother, and that's amazing to me that he touched so many people's hearts.
George Floyd's family and friends coming together to say goodbye.
I just want to say thank you to him just for being there, just being a real, genuine person, just being loving and caring and somebody I can count on no matter what.
Protective masks can't hide the pain and heartache, fueling demands for justice and change growing since Floyd's death.
It's time for us to stand up in George's name and say, get your knee off our necks.
The message literally sounding from the rooftops to a crowd just outside the memorial and echoing across the nation, thousands gathering like they have for 10 straight days now in Washington and here in Brooklyn.
I thank God for y'all. I thank God for y'all showing love to my brother.
Floyd's brother Terrence leading a prayer service and march in Brooklyn. This silent demonstration in Massachusetts, and perhaps the most powerful tribute coming from Floyd's little girl, Gianna, atop her godfather's shoulder.
We have new developments tonight in the Ahmaud Arbery case. A South Georgia judge says there is enough evidence to move forward with the trial against the 3 men charged with killing Arbery. The 25-year-old was shot and killed in Brunswick. This happened back in February, as you know. Cell phone video shows the moment it took place, sparking national outrage. 2 months later, Gregory McMichael and his son Travis and their neighbor William Bryan were all charged with his murder.
Throughout the day, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation revealed new information they say shows the 3 men hunted Arbery down, ultimately executing him, including the man who pulled the trigger and his use of the N-word. Today, dozens of protesters outside of the Glenn County Courthouse demand 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery stay behind bars while they await their trial. Inside, a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation disclosed new details about the case, including William Bryan's role in Arbery's death. He originally claimed he was just a witness who recorded the shooting with his cell phone. This morning, GBI says he worked with the McMichaels to try to capture Arbery.
He made several statements about trying to block him in and using his vehicle to try to stop him. His statement was that Mr. Arbery kept jumping out of the way, and moving around the bumper and actually running down into the ditch in an attempt to avoid his truck.
After the shooting, Bryan says Travis McMichael used a racial slur to describe Arbery.
Mr. Bryan said that after the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Arbery was on the ground, that he heard Travis McMichael make the statement.
Wanda Cooper Jones is Arbery's mother.
What stood out the most, I think, is to learn that after my son laid there in the streets dead, that he didn't feel any type of remorse at all. He continued to use the word that he used. Despite he had killed him, he was dead.
GBA also disclosed Travis shot Arbery 3 times, twice in the chest and a 3rd time in his right wrist. Previous reports show Travis shot Arbery in the hand to try to defend himself.
What that indicates to us is that it was not a defensive shot. It was an offensive shot where he planned to kill Ahmaud Arbery by shooting him body center mass in the chest. It wasn't in response to any assault on him.
GBI found 2 social media posts where Travis also used the N-word. A grand jury date has not been set. All 3 men remain behind bars.
And switching gears to our weather tonight, Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb is monitoring some possible storms for tomorrow, and some of us got some showers today.
Yeah, we did, and there are still some of them lingering out there. This is the time of night when you have these heat and humidity type showers that these start to diminish. We are seeing a weakening trend with some of these, but some of them are still holding together pretty well with some heavy rain. In the city itself, we no longer have any rain here. We had some showers that came through earlier. Some of those were on Centennial Park and in Piedmont Park. Those moved over to the east. Now we're watching some of these showers that developed between Kennesaw and Marietta, and that area of rain is really kind of blossoming a little bit with some moderate rain. Not really heavy showers and storms anymore with this. And in fact, we're not even really seeing any thunder and lightning with that. That's moving to the north and to the east near Forsyth County. We had some heavier showers in Gwinnett earlier. Those moved up to around Lake Lanier. We have another batch of rain over Lake Lanier now, and that's going to keep moving on over to the east. And then behind this system, not much else is going on right now. So I do think once this moves to the north and east, things will start to die down just a little bit, and we'll see some drying out overnight, but then tomorrow another round of scattered showers and storms are going to be moving into our direction. Take a look at these temperatures. We have rain-cooled air out there right now, 74 in Duluth, 69 in Gainesville with the rain that's coming down there. We have just moved below 80 here in Atlanta at 79. Marietta, you're also at 79 degrees. Stay with us. We're going to time out any additional showers and storms that could redevelop during the day tomorrow, and we'll let you know if that rain shower activity is going to linger into the weekend.
All right, here are some other big stories we are following for you right now. We are getting our first look at the man accused of driving an ATV into an Atlanta motorcycle officer. Police say Avery Goggins ran into Officer Maximilian Brewer during a protest Saturday night. Officer Brewer underwent surgery and is in recovery. He has some serious leg injuries. Goggins faces several charges, including DUI and possession of marijuana.
Athens Clarke County Commissioner Mariah Parker has now tested positive for COVID-19. Parker was the organizer of Sunday's protests in downtown Athens. In a Facebook post, she says that she was asymptomatic but infectious. Anyone who came in contact with her is urged to get tested and self-isolate for 14 days.
Only 5 days until the Georgia primary, and despite COVID-19 restrictions, voters have cast more than 1 million ballots. According to the Secretary of State's office, nearly 80% of those are absentee. Absentee ballots must be received by a county elections office no later than 7 p.m. on Tuesday in order to be counted. 11 Alive's Decision 2020 team is here to look at all the issues that matter most to you and your family ahead of Georgia's primaries on June 9th. If there is something you want us to cover or questions you have, let us know.
You know what, Aisha? Children are also taking part in the American experience by speaking out against injustice, just like this little girl here, a little toddler with the Black Lives Matter sign. It's on fire on social media. A lot of folks are talking about that. We're going to continue our live team coverage coming up after the break. Stay with us.
And mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily.
Another live look at a clear downtown Atlanta. Hour and 15 minutes after the citywide curfew, protesters have moved out. Just a few remaining law enforcement and National Guard officers out there. We are way beyond the curfew. It seems like it was a very peaceful night and things are pretty much wrapped up.
You know, the GBI believes a coordinated effort was responsible for much of the violence and destruction we saw in protest downtown Atlanta that happened recently. Ryan Kruger explains how some of those people arrested have a history of violence at other protests.
Yeah, Rob, the GBI says that there have been more than 500 people who have been arrested in the city of Atlanta during these protests that began on Friday. And now most of them, 84%, they're from Georgia. But the GBI says they are looking into some of these out-of-towners, these out-of-staters, and they believe tonight that many of them came here just to cause trouble. After a moment of silence at Piedmont Park Thursday afternoon, organizers of this march warned others be on the lookout for anyone looking to cause trouble.
If you see someone doing something sketchy, stop them, call them out, take a picture of who they are.
GBI Director Vic Reynolds says while the overwhelming majority of people at the protests have been peaceful, there are several from out of state with a history of violence.
We're seeing histories like prior assaults, prior obstructions of law enforcement officers, prior terroristic threats cases.
The GBI looked at more than 400 arrests from Friday to Monday. 84% of them are from Georgia, but the ones from outside the state have an interesting history. For instance, one man is from Minnesota. Authorities believe he took part in the riots up there before coming to Atlanta. A Florida person was arrested, and they had several charges for assault from the riots in Ferguson, Missouri back in 2014. And 10 people from out of state were all bonded out of jail by the same person.
But it indicates to us that they were connected in some fashion. And so we're trying our best with our federal partners to see what those connections are.
And you sort of heard Director Reynolds kind of allude right there. They are working with the FBI and other federal partners to really try to figure out if there are any other cities in this country that are also seeing the same thing, possibly these coordinated groups that may be coming in and causing some sort of damage or destruction. We did ask him who these groups are, who they're connected to, what they believe in, their ideology. He said that is all stuff they're still working on and cannot mention it right now.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brian. All right, switching gears right now, we're going to head over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb. And Chris, you know, some of those protesters did see a little bit of rain right before the curfew hour.
Yeah, they did, and they got wet by some of those showers. And I'm just thankful that it was just rain there because there was some lightning around inside the perimeter, but we never had any lightning right on top of Centennial Olympic Park, but it was around. It was getting me a little bit worried out there for the crowds of people that were outside. Right now, mainly dry inside the perimeter, but as you can see here, we had some of those showers that came through earlier. Those moved up to the north and east, and now we're keeping an eye on these showers that are kind of growing a little bit, and we even have a new lightning strike right there in Forsyth County, just to the north and west of Cumming, where we've been tracking these showers that developed back in Cobb County between Marietta and Kennesaw. Just kind of started bubbling up there, and then as it moved to the north and east, they kind of started spreading out a little bit, and now we're seeing a little bit of lightning. You most likely heard some thunder just a few minutes ago in the Cumming area and into Forsyth County, and that's going to keep moving up to the north. We had some heavier rain in Gwinnett County a little bit earlier. That continues to move up to the north and east with that rain that's starting to diminish somewhat in intensity, and it will keep moving on out of the area tonight. Not much else redeveloping back here to the north and west. Temperatures are starting to come down, especially in those areas that had rain. We call it rain-cooled air. We're at 69 right now in Gainesville, 74 in Duluth, but we're just below 80 right now in Atlanta. Watching Cristobal, a tropical depression that will become a tropical storm again as it moves up through the Gulf of Mexico. We're expecting potential landfall around Louisiana on late Sunday, we think, into early on Monday. And since we're on the right-hand side of this system, it's just going to continue pumping a lot of moisture our way, and that's going to keep us with some rain chances. So a 6 on the wasometer tomorrow, highs near 87 degrees. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, the rain chance comes down a little bit to 30%, with highs around 88 Saturday, 85 Sunday, and then going back up Monday and Tuesday with some of that tropical moisture that'll be feeding our way with those higher rain chances, and then coming back down to 40% Wednesday, 30% on Thursday, with highs generally there in the mid-80s for much of next week. Take a look at your weather wow moment. This is from Christine Wilcox in Winder. Nice look at the cloud formations there earlier this morning, just after sunrise up in the Barrow County area. We'd love to see your weather wow moment, and we get a lot of those from our 11 Alive Storm Trackers. You can become a part of that group on Facebook. Just search 11 Alive Storm Trackers. Ask to become a member of this closed group. We'll let you in, and you can also see what other storm trackers are posting, and you can also upload your weather information, pictures or videos there.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. We'll see you a little bit later in the show. Another live look downtown where you see things have wrapped up, and it is pretty clear on day 7 of protests. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted.
You know, each and every night we hear from protesters and they tell us why they are marching every single night. And 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks. And this is what they're saying tonight.
Stuff has to change. We can't just, and this can't be like 3 days, 4 days. It's got to be every single day until they do something.
You shouldn't be able to kill someone on camera and be able to still go home, because they can't go home.
Please understand that we mostly come in peace, but at the same time, we cannot bring a life back.
This is a peaceful crowd, and all they are expecting is action and change. That's it.
So we're fighting more than one cause being out here. It's the fact that our death is being justified, but then we're also dying from coronavirus.
And we're not looking for violence. We're not looking to loot. We're not looking to riot. We just want our voices to be heard. It's okay to speak up for yourself. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong.
We want to do it in peace. We want to do it in harmony. And we're not protesting haircuts or a curfew. We're protesting our life. We just want to stay alive. We just don't want to die.
This is about justice, and we all need to stand together in this fight.
And we thank the people that's doing it the peaceful way.
Pay attention, man. Let's go. Let's fix this. Let's fix it.
Not matter.
11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks, and we want to know what's your role in this movement. Call us. Call us on the number on your screen, 678-765-9514, to leave a voicemail. Leave your name, number, and where you are from, and we may use your message on the air. Before we go to break, here's a live look downtown Atlanta once again, where it is pretty much clear. Protesters cleared out right before curfew, except for a few stragglers, but all that's left, a few National Guardsmen and also APD. We'll be right back.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast, not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear, on 11 Alive News Prime Time, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast, not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
In times of great uncertainty, some things become more clear. The things we take for granted, the people we depend on daily. Here at 11 Live, we'd like to say thank you. First responders, medical staff, sanitation workers, truck drivers.
Streets clear now after the 7th night of protests. We're an hour and a half now into the 9 p.m. curfew. Brendan Keefe is live downtown to show us what it's looking like right now, Brendan.
Aisha, I never thought when 2020 started that I would have to take my COVID mask off, my coronavirus mask off, to put on my gas mask, then take my gas mask off to put on my coronavirus mask. But that is the world in which we live right now, and it doesn't even seem abnormal, which is, I guess, the problem. What I am happy to report to you is that this went about as well as it could have, given the crowd that we had tonight that was 4 to 5 times larger than last night. There was no deployment of tear gas, of that CS gas that we saw for 6 nights. Sorry, I strike that for 5 nights. We didn't see it on night 6. We didn't see it tonight on night 7. And that is certainly a good thing because it was close. There was a standoff, but there was a lot of give and take. And they were able to essentially negotiate people leaving the scene and going home, which was really something. So right now we're looking at a shot of the scene. What basically we're seeing here is we're seeing a National Guard vehicles that are returning to base. This is what they call RTB, bring it back home, because it's mission accomplished tonight. What they tried to do was to get everybody home safe, and that's what they did. We've heard no reports of any injuries. We have heard reports of some arrests, but there weren't mass arrests. There was a little bit of a standoff there. They had to make the announcement twice, and some people didn't want to go home. But eventually they did, and even though we all had our gas masks on, the police had their gas masks on, and and also the National Guard, and when they put their gas masks on, we put ours on. I was sure that there was going to be the firing of tear gas, but instead they just advanced the line. There were just a few stragglers left, and they made a couple of arrests, but pretty much the vast majority of people, including the police and the National Guard, are going to be sleeping in their own beds tonight. So that's the story here live from downtown. I'm Brendan Keefe. Ron?
All right, thanks a lot, Brendan, for the update. You know, as protests continue for a 7th straight day in Atlanta, some of Georgia's top elected officials are now appearing on national television to discuss the calls for social justice reform. 11 Alive's Joe Hankey is tracking the conversation for us tonight.
As protests continue in Atlanta and around the country, civil rights icon and Georgia Congressman John Lewis appeared on the Today Show this morning and shared how he believes Martin Luther King Jr. would react to today's demonstrations.
He's looking down and he's saying to each and every one of us, keep it up and never give up, never give in, but to keep the faith and to keep your eyes on the prize.
Lewis also said he is very pleased when asked about new charges being brought against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Chauvin, originally charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter for the death of George Floyd, is now charged with second-degree murder.
You will send a strong and powerful message that you will not just go out and kill a person and know that you are killing that person without powerful action on the part of the Lord of the land.
And this afternoon on The Ellen Show, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms called the protests in Atlanta's streets and many other cities around the country a turning point in the fight against racism.
And I know it's true because I'm seeing white police officers take a knee next to black protesters. So the fact that they are articulating very boldly and very publicly saying, I don't have all of the answers, but I recognize that you're hurting, I think it's a step that we hadn't seen taken in this country, at least in my lifetime.
Bottoms added protesters and elected officials must now work together if protests are to turn into noticeable change. And as Representative Lewis and Mayor Bottoms talked on national TV today, other elected officials and religious leaders talked outside of the King Center here in Atlanta. They held an event in honor of George Floyd as a memorial service took place at the same time for Floyd up in Minneapolis.
That was Joe Hankey reporting for us tonight. A controversial statue is being removed in Virginia today. Governor Ralph Northam announced the statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee is being removed from Richmond's Monument Avenue as soon as possible. The statue, which has become a rallying point during recent protests, will be put into the storage room while Northam's administration and community leaders decide where to put it.
Well, the latest now on the number of COVID-19 cases across our state. According to the State Department of Public Health, there are now nearly 50,000 confirmed cases in Georgia, and more than 2,100 people have already died. And there's a lot of emotions, as you can imagine, surrounding the ongoing protests, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The impact of having so many people crowded together is still unknown. Reveal investigator Rebecca Lindstrom found there's one forecasting model that shows Georgia was already headed in the wrong direction before those protests started.
The model was created by the co-founder of Instagram. It essentially tells us how fast the virus is spreading in our community. Georgia's rate of transmission right now is second only to North Carolina. Let's be clear, it's still really low, but enough to keep the virus hanging around. Essentially, this model says that for every 8 people with COVID-19, 9 more people will get it. I am not a mathematician or an expert in infectious diseases, so we took this model to someone who could tell me if this chart has merit.
And it was first developed for other epidemic diseases like SARS and MERS and Ebola and things like that.
Dr. Richard Rothenberg says the math behind the model has been around for about 8 years and tweaked with each event. He says the methodology is sound, but the rate is a look at what happened a week ago. So these numbers don't yet take into account the protests that have filled our streets.
In models in general, you never really want to take the exact number very seriously. You just want to look at the range and direction. And those are the things that I think are most important.
Right now, even with our range, we're not protecting ourselves enough to make this virus go away. We were in the green zone while we sheltered in place, but in the past 2 weeks, that has changed. A product of not enough people wearing masks, washing their hands, or detecting the virus soon enough to avoid others.
So the period from 2 days before to maybe 4 or 5 days after you become sick is a critical period for spread. Now, the people who are important in protecting themselves are the ones who don't have it.
We've shown you this trend graph for weeks. It seems like good news, and big picture, it is. But look at Connecticut's trend. That is the sharp kind of decrease we're going to need to see in new cases if we really want to slow this virus down. Rothenberg says he's keeping his eye on June 21st, 3 weeks out from Memorial Day, the first mass gatherings here in our state. There are plenty of states that are in the green in this model, so he says the real takeaway here is do what you need to do, but protect yourself while you're doing it.
AMC Theaters, the world's largest movie theater chain, says it has substantial doubt it can remain in business after the coronavirus pandemic. According to AMC, people are not going to the movies because of the coronavirus. As a result, the company is losing a lot of money. And to make matters worse, the company says distributors may continue to push back new film releases. There is also a possibility some studios will start offering hit blockbusters on demand or through streaming. Ahead of the summer schedule, the airline business is coming back to life. American Airlines plans to fly 55% of its domestic schedule in July. That is up dramatically from May, when it flew 20% of its schedule from a year ago. According to a high-ranking company official, American is seeing a slow rise in domestic demand and is confident it is time to expand flights. And according to the Wall Street Journal, Delta plans to fly twice as many domestic flights in July as it did in May.
A Gwinnett County mom says the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis was heavy on her heart when she went for a drive yesterday. So she spotted a local police officer and says that she just wanted to talk to him. The conversation is getting a lot of attention after she posted it all on Facebook. And she tells our Caitlin Ross she just wanted to be heard.
Sonia Simmons lights up when she talks about her 2 boys, Clayton and Matthew. They mean everything to her. But she says the violence she's seen against young black men keeps her up at night, and she wants a change.
Really, for their whole lives, I have feared for their safety. The events over the last week have just magnified everything.
Sonia Simmons has watched the protests that have swept the country and understood the anger of the people protesting in the street.
I've been on the verge of tears for over a week. I've been so angry. been so angry.
She says since this started, she's just wanted to hear another police officer say what happened to George Floyd was wrong.
When I was driving, I was thinking, why don't they stand up and police themselves?
She was thinking about that as she pulled into a local park and saw Gwinnett police officer T.W. Carrero.
Just as we don't want to be stereotyped as a race, that we're all bad, I realized that not all police officers are bad. And that's what my post really came about.
She says she pulled up beside him and rolled down her window to talk.
If I'm wearing a uniform and I'm proud of that uniform and that badge that I wear, then I'm not okay with people misrepresenting me.
She says Officer Carrero took the time to listen to her and explain how he felt about what happened.
He talked with me. He didn't talk at me. I didn't talk at him.
She wrote a post about their conversation on Facebook and says people were so encouraged to see how the officer really took the time to understand.
And I do see good people speaking up, speaking out, saying, I stand with you, I hear you. And really, isn't that what we all want as humans, is to be heard?
Sonia says she's been overwhelmed by the reaction to her post. It's already been shared thousands of times. Coming up at 6, we're talking about some of those reactions.
We still are tracking some showers, a little thunder and lightning left even at this late night hour. Those are going to be diminishing. We'll talk about whether or not we'll see additional storms redeveloping tomorrow that could linger into your weekend.
Coming up, 2 NFL quarterbacks taking heat after comments about race. What one Falcons player has to say about what's going on next.
And doing their part to make a difference. We see you, we hear you, and we appreciate all that you do.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Today at noon on 11 Alive.
We are seeing that lack of smell or altered taste can be a symptom.
We answer your coronavirus-related medical questions. Because 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks.
Televised newscast not enough for you? Get even more at 11 Alive's YouTube channel, where you'll find uncut interviews, extended body cam footage, live streams of Atlanta's biggest trials, and more. Subscribe to 11 Alive today.
Let's start with a viral message going around. Quote, vast majority of people who died had ibuprofen Advil in their system. This message is fake.
We just bought 20 dust masks for $97.
Are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make money, or both?
Both. Take this email sent to the Verify team. Is it safe to have your house cleaned by outside workers? The best practice is to limit guests to emergencies only.
We know things are changing every day, but we're here with you. Continuous COVID-19 coverage during prime time. We're committed to giving you facts, not fear. On 11 Alive News Primetime, weeknights from 8 to 11 on WATF.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more...
Welcome back, everyone. The Hispanic and Latino communities are now uniting to support the Black Lives Matter movement as these protests continue all across our country. And they told our 11 Alive's Ellen Lopez that they understand more needs to be done, even within their own communities.
The whole world shut down again. You know, I feel like we're kind of like in the middle of a revolution right now.
Roberto Hernandez, a Latino artist, says he knew he had to do something to show his support for those marching against racial injustice. Attending the protest, he says, wasn't an option because he had to meet his deadline, painting a mural at Plaza Fiesta on Buford Highway, but he didn't let that get in his way. He found another way to be a part of the movement with a little help from his friends.
It was a very humble protest.
Through music and signs he painted in both English and Spanish, saying, "We are all the same, todos somos iguales."
A few signs that say that the Latino community is an ally to the cause.
A small yet significant way to show his support.
Anything as little or as big as it can be, it can add so much power to the movement.
Like him, there are many others in support of the cause. The Latino Community Fund released a statement saying, quote, "It recognizes the need to mobilize and organize against institutional racism and white supremacy."
The work that we need to do is we need to do internal work in the Latinx community to dismantle white supremacy and colorism and racism first.
Gigi Pedraza, executive director of the organization, says they have committed to several points of action, including doing more to highlight the voices of Afro-Latinos in the community.
Learning from them, their experiences and how we can be better allies, it's the way to go.
Hernandez tells me he also plans on painting a mural in support of the African American community. He says it might take some time, but that he will make it happen.
Tonight, the GBI is offering a closer look at the people arrested during the first few days of protest here in Atlanta. Between last Friday and Monday, 370 people arrested in Atlanta and also in Fulton County. This is what we know, is that of those, the vast majority live here in Georgia. 57 were from out of state, 5 homeless. Only a small group had faced previous criminal charges like aggravated assault, willful obstruction, and giving a false name to law enforcement. The average age of those arrested, 24 years old. Now, we tried to get specific answers from the Atlanta Police Department about the number of people arrested for looting Friday night and how they're trying to track them down. We're still waiting for a response.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Storm Trackers, where we are still watching some showers out there that do have some thunder and lightning with them. You're most likely hearing that and seeing that on the north side, where we have some of those pockets of heavy rain still. Most of the rain has moved out of the downtown area. We had some of those showers earlier that had some heavy rain and thunder and lightning with them. Now, we've been watching those showers move out of Cobb through Cherokee through North Fulton County. There's that bit of heavy rain right there in the eastern parts of Cherokee County. More showers moving through Forsyth County right now. They've been inundated by some waves of heavy rain that have been coming through Forsyth County, and then those have been trailing up over Lake Lanier as well, and more of that rain's coming in over Lake Lanier right now after these waves came through earlier, and some of those earlier had some thunder and lightning. Northeast Georgia, you're still getting some of those showers. They are showing signs of diminishing as they move up toward the north and east. We're not really seeing much in the form of lightning with these anymore. There might still be a few lightning strikes in the next little while here, still possible in some of those bands of heavier rain, but things are showing signs of weakening somewhat. And then once this moves through, I really think that this is going to be the end of it for tonight before we see additional showers and a few thunderstorms developing tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center has kept just one little tiny part of North Georgia in that marginal risk for some stronger storms. That's mainly up to the north into Tennessee and also into parts of Kentucky. We haven't seen a lot of that happening up in those areas. Tomorrow, we're going to see the rain chances coming back, about a 40% to 50% chance at different times during the afternoon hours tomorrow. Temperatures in those